Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's Minisode. What did you think of my episode I did with Dr. Ioana Popa? I realized that as much as her techniques are aimed towards those who are serving in the church or serving in some sort of ministry, I do believe that we can all benefit from the tips that she gave us, from learning how to renew our brains and be able to figure out the steps that are needed to make sure that we can compartmentalize the difference between empathy and compassion. What she explained in the episode was very interesting and very helpful, I think, for all of us. If you haven't listened, I do encourage you to go back and listen. There's so much in there. So, I want to talk about something that I did mention in the episode, which was my mom style and the things that I struggle with. We talked about how it was difficult to find silence, and she asked me, why was it difficult for me to find silence? And I explained to her how I have trouble slowing my brain down, especially at night. And I know all you ladies are raising your hand saying, yeah, that's me too. As a mom, that's just how I am. That's how we roll. We are constantly, our brains are on the move. And I don't think they ever really do shut down. Not like men. You can ask them, what are you thinking about? They will say nothing. And they're actually thinking about nothing. Some days, I wish I was so lucky. But there are times, like I mentioned in the episode, that I think and overthink and focus too much on the wrong things that really don't need to be focused on that time of night. And sometimes they don't leave until I make myself a note or I actually go take care of whatever the problem is. I don't really know how to explain why I feel compelled and I can't relax until I do that. If you happen to know the diagnosis for that on how to why that is, please do comment and let me know. I would like to stop being this way because it's not always great. Let's be honest, ladies and men, because I know there's some men out there that are like this. If you get fixated on something and you absolutely can't get it out of your brain until you take care of it, how irritating is that, especially when you're trying to sleep? So, being silent before God is absolutely necessary to our sanity, to our health, mentally and spiritually. And this is something that I am trying to work on, and it is not easy. I know I have said this before because I know I've talked about this subject before, but it is something that needs to be talked about often. We have a weird idea of what silence is. We think if we just don't talk for a certain amount of time that we're being silent, but anyone who has laid in bed at night and not actually said a word, but can hear their brain talking to them knows that that's not exactly what silence is. And silence is not always golden. Let's think about when our kids are silent. Usually it's not a good thing. So we need to retrain our minds to think about what exactly is silence and how should we go about it health wise. And honestly, I don't have the answers to that. I wish I did, otherwise, I wouldn't have this problem. All I know is that God is in control. And when I am laying there at night and I am frustrated because I can't get something out of my head, I will pray and I will say, Lord, if this is something that you need me to remember, if this is absolutely important, please help me to remember it in the morning. And if it's not, just let it go. And sometimes that works. Like maybe 80% of the time it'll work. The rest of it, I'm like, okay, fine. I will leave myself a note to do this, that, or whatever. Sometimes I will have to take care of it immediately. And usually, the only time I take care of something immediately, which requires me having to either get out of bed or reach over and grab my phone for reasons other than just to leave a note on it. The only things that that usually happens for is if I feel really strongly that I am supposed to contact somebody. I always pray for them as well. But there are times where God is speaking to us through our quote unquote silent times, and sometimes that's through our brain processes. I mean, if He really wanted us to be silent at night, I feel like our brains would shut down, would completely shut down so that we could do that. So, our brains not shutting down may not always be a problem, I think the way we handle it is what the real problem is. Because when it's quiet in the dead of night, we're sitting there, we're mulling over things that happened that day. We're mulling over what we might get to do tomorrow. Should we be allowed to have that time? There's just so many things that we're thinking about. And God is so good that He allows us to do this and He's there with us. So maybe He is working through that quote unquote silence to better us for when we wake up in the morning, or maybe something is immediate and you do need to talk to that person right then and there. And that's why you just jolted out of bed immediately and you have no clue why you woke up other than thinking about this person. So we just need to have our heads on in a healthy way and just evaluate why we can't let go of certain things, why some things are easier to compartmentalize and why other things are not. And we should not worry about anything past that day. That's what the Bible says. Don't worry about anything for tomorrow because tomorrow has its own problems. Today's are enough for today. So I'm saying all this, and it probably sounds like a jumbled mess, but honestly, silence might look different for each of us. And for women, especially, we shouldn't get so hard on ourselves if we are spending that nighttime processing what happened during that day. Maybe that is God refreshing us, healing us, and giving us new perspective to wake up with tomorrow. So when you look at the things that you're thinking about at night, try to put it in biblical perspective. And if you absolutely can't sleep because you are stressed out about these things, go to God. He is already there. He has already met you in those anxieties you are having. And for men, if you are one of those guys who can compartmentalize things and shut things down, don't always be quick to do that because maybe God is wanting you to process something. And if you just quickly shut it down, that might be blocking you from getting something He's trying to tell you or teach you. So be careful with that. And men, if you resonated with something that I said about the women and vice versa, women with the men and the compartmentalizing, we are not all built exactly the same. So I understand that things are going to be different, and that is absolutely okay. Just look at the way that you do things and make sure you are putting God center with all of that, with all the stresses and anxieties. All right. I hope that I have helped you. I have encouraged you. If I did, please comment and let me know how you're doing and if you need any prayer about the subject that we talked about today. Talk to you later. Bye.